The High Fire Podcast is your go-to for straight talk on the steam and boiler industry. Get knowledge you can use, stuff that matters, like tech, safety, industry trends, and more. Whether you're an engineer, a tech, or a plant manager, we've got the info that matters to you from steam industry experts. Tune in and stay fired up. Steam didn't just power the Industrial Revolution. It moved entire buildings, saved lives, and nearly beat the gas engine. This episode uncovers some of the wildest historical uses of steam power.
So today we're actually going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite subject, steam.
All right.
Is that good? All right. Acceptable. But today it's the wild world of historical steam that we're going to talk about. I think last episode that we actually got to talk about some modern uses, and this one is going to be on some of the older uses, which I know you do a lot of steam cultures. Plug on YouTube, this guy, steam cultures.
Don't be a stranger.
Don't be a stranger, steam. But first, as always, get started. I got a dad joke. I don't think any of you guys have one.
No.
So instead of that, you have to introduce yourselves instead of giving a dad joke. Next time
It's
you
like
have
a
dad
punishment.
joke. I know, it's total. All right, so what do you call a deer with no eyes?
I have no idea.
That's it. I have no idea. Man, dang it. That's pretty quick, Alex.
That is awful.
That is a bad one. All right. Well, since you answered, you get to introduce yourself
Oh, I
first.
thought I wouldn't have to. Okay. Alex Taylor. I'm in our rental and equipment sales division and been here about 11 years. So.
I was actually here when you were a little kid, too.
Oh, yeah. No, I took some naps on actually your office floor for a while there.
Yeah. Used to walk from, get off the bus at the end of
Produce
the
Road.
Produce
Oh, I
Road
forgot about
and
that.
walk all the way down.
That's
How
my
old
life
were
every
you?
time. Oh, man. I started doing that in 6th grade. And
So you were in middle
right?
school.
yeah. So did that pretty much through early high school until I could drive, essentially. So.
Yeah, apparently your mom and dad didn't like you very much. They were hoping you got picked up.
Well, I mean, Mom always picked me up, but Dad, he always made me brave the road. I mean,
Yes.
I guess he wanted to tough me up.
And it was the road. There's no sidewalk.
There's no sidewalks.
No. And half the time
Trucks, gravel, shoulder.
Oh yeah, no, that grass is 3 feet tall most of the time. You're in there clubbing lions on the way through.
Right.
The rite of passage, walk down Produce Road. All right. What about you, Drew?
Excuse me, I'm Gerald Blaine. I'm the Vice President of the Project Services Division. I've been here for 22 years.
22. Now, Gerald, you're my cousin. You've obviously been around even longer than 22 years.
Yes, I have. I've seen every shop we've ever had.
Yeah, that's right. Do you remember the first
Piece
one
of history.
Yep.
on Lyndhurst? You do? Really?
Yeah, I remember walking you and the Kelly to the end of the corner at the ice cream
Ice cream.
store, and we could barely reach
Yeah,
over
you
with our dime.
Give me the ice cream.
With a dime.
With the dime. That's right.
Wow.
Get a chocolate
cool.
chip cone.
Let's go back to those days.
Yeah.
Right.
Brent?
Well, my name is Brent Falconee, and I've been with the business 31 years this September. So I am the VP of our HR, or we like to say the people department. So I do people things.
And I've already talked about the past, and we're going to talk about that you are the son-in-law.
I am the son-in-law in the family business.
Yes.
Right.
Every
Yes.
business should have one. I always say that. You know, it's like a
And you're Canadian. I do have a joke about that. 2 Canadian hunters were driving through the country to go bear hunting. When they came upon a fork in the road, there was a sign which read, "Bear left." So they turned around and went home.
That was pretty good. I'll take that one. You redeemed yourself for the deer one.
That's funny.
All right, well, let's jump in because we were talking about some weird and wild and brilliant uses of steam. And this is actually throughout history. So we're going to first talk about steam donkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Alex.
Yeah, so history is a passion of mine. I love this kind of stuff. It's just, it's neat to see where we've been and, you know, how we got where we are. So a steam donkey was essentially, I mean, when you come down to it, it's a winch for dragging felled trees out of the woods. You know, it used to be you cut it, you chop a tree down or saw it down, and then hook up some, you know, beasts of burden, some oxen, some bulls, some donkeys, whatever you got.
donkey?
Well, it actually, from what I saw, and I mean, I can't prove this 100%, but most of the time smaller boilers are rated in horsepower. Well, these were so small that people, I guess, felt that they didn't deserve a horsepower rating, so they were a donkey boiler. And we still hear that occasionally. in the That's what I've heard. I can't prove it, but
Remember
that's
hearing that when I
that's what I've
started
seen.
here, a donkey boiler.
Yep. And so they would basically mount these things on essentially what looked like pontoons made out of wood. So basically mount them on a couple logs on a big skid. And they would take these things up rivers on barges. They take them by rail, and they get out there and they drag them across the across the ground. Usually winch them to wherever they needed to go, and then they'd anchor them down, and they would hook up to trees that had been felled, and they'd turn these boilers on, go ahead and start feeding them, fire them up, and then they would go ahead and pull these trees out a lot more quickly than any of these animals could. And you didn't have to worry about feeding and maintaining the health of the animals and stuff easier. It was a better design for them and a little bit faster.
Yeah.
There were some people that were kind of resistant to this idea at first. When one of the first ones rolled out, there's a story that a guy yelled out, he said, "Get that dripping pot out of here and bring back the bulls." But, over time they proved their worth.
The sass.
I know, right? But, I mean, you get some resistance to new technology, but eventually they proved their worth. They were pulling things out really fast. I mean, you could clear forests way faster by using these, and they were very popular. They ended up, I think there was a story out of Humboldt County where it wasn't just about the speed and efficiency. Sometimes it created a little chaos, and there were some fun things that happened. There was apparently a newer logger out there, and he was wanting to impress some of his fellas, so he hopped on one of these logs as it was being pulled up a hill, and it was going along great until that thing hit a stump. Well, it threw him in the air, and it snapped his arm in half. But they said the rumor is he got free beers for the rest of the week. So, it's all's well that ends well, I suppose, as long as he was safe and didn't lose it. But, I think it was a really cool example of, not only steam entering the mix, but this is the first true example of bringing technology to the wilderness. This literally delivered the Industrial Revolution to the frontier. And it was right there on the cutting edge, no pun intended with the lumberjack stuff. But
There you go.
they did,
Well
but
done.
they pulled them all out. And unfortunately, with all things, technology changes a little bit, so we don't have those anymore, of course. They were used right up to World War II, and then with the way America ramped up our production and everything, we started, with tanks and all that technology, we realized, hey, we can make tractors en masse, so we did. And diesel-powered tractors started replacing these things. They were just a little bit easier to manage, and so they've gone away. But you can actually still see one. I believe you might have mentioned this in your boiling point, but out in
culture.
Disneyland. Oh yeah, sorry, it was in steam culture.
Yeah.
My bad. But yeah, out in
This is a
Disneyland.
boiling
I'm a boiling
yeah,
point. This is steam.
yeah, that's right. That's the point. The point is the difference.
That's right.
But yeah, out at the Grizzly River Run in Disneyland, you can actually still see one in the bend as you go around the river.
Like
at
in
one point.
Frontierland or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. So you can actually see one out there.
Is that
It
right?
used
I think
to be called,
there's
I think it's gone now. Frontierland. I thought they redid it.
Oh, did they take that out? Well,
Yeah.
well, if they did, there's still there's a
I know
museum.
what you're
up
talking
in,
about.
Yeah, yeah. But there is a museum in British Columbia that you can still go to and see one. So they're still mounted up on those skids. Nice little package boiler system.
If I recall, they got them off the barges and pretty much left them somewhere in the vicinity of the river, right? Because they're pulling everything to the river to load up the barge and
Yeah.
Plus
They-
they
on the
needed
way.
the water.
yeah,
And
or
set-
float them down.
Yeah.
or
No, they
float
need the
'em.
water for the boiler.
For the boiler.
Yeah.
And the water for the boiler. You're right. Yes,
We'll need that.
I was like the water. I thought you were talking about where they were still floating logs down. I think
You know, it's,
downstream.
it's also kind of funny. I've read before that apparently a lot of times once these started being replaced, they were so big and difficult to move, and they weren't really worth dragging off to scrap. They were just left where they were. So if you go hiking off trail in some of these areas that used to be logged, you might actually come across one.
What would be the irony of using donkeys to pull the
pull
donkey
one?
boiler off the?
That's a
Probably a
good
little
joke.
insulting.
Waiting for the
donkey.
punchline.
Yeah, that was it. The plane is there's nothing better. In my head, it landed better, but that's all I had on the donkey.
Nah, it's all good.
Yeah.
So I guess, you think about water, and back then, pulling it from the river, is it clean?
No.
I imagine
Probably
they
not.
scaled up a lot of them.
Yeah, the water quality thing wasn't quite what it is today.
No.
And I think,
No.
if I'm not mistaken, in those days too, the metal was like, those were tanks,
Yeah,
like absolute tanks.
riveted
built on-
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very inefficient overall.
Did
Just-
you come across like any fatalities from anything exploding or anything like that?
I'm sure they happened. I
Yeah.
didn't in my research, but
Yeah.
anytime you have early industrial age steam, I
Right.
mean, the American Boiler Manufacturers Association was designed for a reason, and it was mostly around safety.
Yeah.
So early on, I'm sure there were plenty of people that sadly lost their lives or limbs due to,
What was the year of American Boiler Manufacturers Association again?
oh goodness, what were they, 1880s,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say,
1880s.
early 1900s?
Yeah.
Early.
Because
Yeah.
the donkey boilers were the 1800s, late 1800s.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
and usually the safety and the the regulations tend to follow the technology by a good piece before they really come in.
That's cool. Well, let's go from donkeys to cars. And there's actually, right now you think about where we're at from a car standpoint, and now we're moving into this EV age, right? We're going into electric. But even before that, there was actually steam cars.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and honestly, we don't, if you wanted to do a deep dive into steam cars, it would be way longer than this segment because it's a subculture. It's a neat piece of automotive history. The steam car, a lot of people took a run at the steam car, and everyone knows the Stanley Steamer, which I've got a picture with, which is pretty cool. It was actually, at the time when I had the picture taken, it was out in Colorado at the, I just went blank, at the hotel where The Shining was.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
well, it was the
The-
Overlook, and now it's
Yeah.
what's it actually?
Yeah, there's one right in the lobby.
Yeah.
So the Stanley Steamer was there. It was pretty cool, but
You mean it was a car, not an actual cleaning device for your
it
carpets?
was a car. The Stanley Steamer.
You have that picture?
Somewhere, yes,
All right.
in my archives of that. That's the same one where I also got the steam car that was used to climb Manitou Peak.
Oh, okay.
Sound of Music
Well, hopefully
car.
you can get that to Chuck, and we can see that.
I'll have to find that.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't remember I had it until I was thinking about the Stanley Steamer, but I do have a picture of that. But yeah, so, we've done several episodes on steam cars, and you talked about water. I mean, water being one of the limiting factors of a steam car. It's hard to go up and drive, Same thing with steam locomotives. You have to have a tender behind you that has not just fuel, coal, but also water. It's kind of hard to haul all your water with you in a car, and that was one of the limiting factors besides the fact of just the maintenance, the startup time. They did get up to steam pretty quick, but the steam technology in the boilers in the cars it's pretty fascinating, the power that a steam car is able to generate versus an internal combustion engine. And the Doble steam car is one of the better known steam cars, but Stanley Steamer, obviously the name holds. But the Doble steam car, that was built in the early 20s, and it was fast. You go from a cold start to full steam in like 30 seconds was the reported time. But
Wow.
Jay Leno, if any of you guys are Jay Leno fans, but I mean, he's got a Doble. He's got two, actually. And then he has a stable of steam cars, and he is an aficionado of steam cars. And there's a great video, if you go out and search it, where he actually does the whole startup, on going from a cold start on, I believe it's on the Doble. And it's pretty fantastic the way the boiler's designed, and I think one of them might be the Doble. It's kind of like it's a coil, high pressure, real steam and quick time. But I mean, just the way they would also condense and reclaim that water, because again, you can't haul your water trailer behind you.
Yeah.
But heavy cars, as you can imagine, but super quiet. Like just you'll hear that. You hear a little steam vent and pistons moving and things like that, but real quiet cars. And then there's just been some neat stuff on the internet about just novelty cars. I think in 1969, it's a great year. Zero was born. Bill Bessler built this steam-powered Chevelle, just yanked the engine out, put a steam-powered engine in there, and it's a pretty neat-looking car. But steam aficionados in vehicles have always felt like the steam-powered car got the shaft. Renewable from the standpoint that it's water with some reclamation on the back end, which is another, if I'm not mistaken, is another Doble unique design in the way that how much they could reclaim, how much condensate they could reclaim and reburn in the boiler. But always felt like, too heavy, too hard to work on, but yet the most economical and horsepower per whatever the conversion rate is there. That's the steam car.
Cool story. Jay Leno is a steam culture fan, and he watched you talk about his car and called you
He did.
and invited you to come see it.
He did.
Still not.
You still haven't went out there yet.
Dang it.
Jay's a busy guy. He is a very gracious guy, extremely down to earth. I got a call just out of the blue and thought I was getting punked. And then
Steampunked.
Steampunked. And then after he said I finally got to speak with him a couple of words, I was like, boy, that sounds exactly like Jay Leno. And extremely down to earth. He is if you've watched the show, he is a historian. He's not just, and he knew as he rebuilt that Doble, he didn't know the parts of the Doble. He knew where the parts were made. And because he had to find some parts and things like that. So if anybody is a steam car fan, go to his channel. I mean, there's a ton. You can just go do the Google and find stuff and all that, but the appreciation for the steam car, he's got a ton of great material.
After they watch your steam culture.
Yeah. The first lead-in would be
That's
to
right.
watch that because I would not say Jay and I are on the same technological level. I'll whet the appetite.
Yeah, right.
And then, and steak and potatoes that come from him.
Do you by any chance have, just know the pressure, what type of pressure that it may generate?
Man, I forget.
Sorry I put you on the spot, but
Yeah.
just curious.
Well, yeah, I don't remember the pressure. Pressure, and a lot of it ends up in the really impressive part is the amount of torque that the steam engine produces.
Yeah.
It's impressive, and I'm not great with that stuff, but when we did our research, just seeing the conversion rate between a gas-powered engine, it's incredible. Howard Hughes set a record, might have been with the Doble, I forget how fast he was going. Just an unbelievable amount of speed, in those cars, tons of power, so.
And how long would they actually run?
Till they couldn't recover the condensate.
Till they were out of
So
water.
how long?
Well, there's different, because as the technology in the car got better, there's some arguing online about how many 300 miles out of the Doble versus, 75 miles. But they just got more efficient as, the longer they went. But that was part of the deal, is you just couldn't take off.
Right.
And then stop somewhere, but you actually could stop somewhere. And there wasn't a lot of great chemical treatment in the 1920s either.
Right.
Yeah.
For a
right.
Doble steam generator. But the Doble steam generator was the premier design, for sure.
That's pretty cool.
That
Yeah.
is neat.
Awesome. Steam is, again, I can understand the car thing, but the next thing we're kind of transitioning to, when I saw that story and heard about the story that Gerald's going to talk about, it was really just amazing. And we're actually moving a building with steam.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And Brent did a steam culture on this one as well. But it's the Indiana Bell building, being Bell Telephone. And they were needing to expand, wanting to add on. And the architect that they had hired at the time come up with an idea, and he said, instead of tearing this building down, let's move it around the corner. And, this is a 11,000-ton brick building. And it was kind of unusual where steam come into play. It was hand jacked up. A lot of guys were jacking it up, and it wasn't very, very high.
Yeah.
But they used the steam engine and cabling in order to rotate the building. And they had to move it in one direction, and then they had to rotate it and move it again in another direction. And moved it from one side of the corner to it had a different address because it moved it to the other side of the street. And then they were able to add onto the building, and then at a later date, it all got torn down and a whole new building, which still is there today, more modern building is there. But
Wow.
an incredible feat of engineering that was assisted by a steam engine.
Yeah.
So, and going back to the idea of the difference in horsepower. Horsepower that we talk about using steam versus a horsepower in an engine is like 30 times greater.
Yeah.
So it's a significant amount of energy that steam harnesses.
We always have talked about the amount of energy in a pound of steam is tremendous. The conversion rate, once you change state from a vapor to, from a liquid to a vapor is tremendous, but then when you convert back, it's a ton. And you just can't duplicate that.
Right.
So you can move a dang building. When I did the research on that, I can remember just trying to find somewhere to go, yeah, that actually didn't happen. Because I thought, you can move a building,
Yeah.
and they literally moved a building.
Yeah,
Turned it around and,
15 inches a day
yeah.
is what they said.
Yeah, because that
Several
was
weeks.
the other thing.
4 weeks.
And it was a fully functional building, right down to the electric, to the utility, all the restrooms, everything functioned,
So they still used it
the
while they were
elevator,
working.
all the people worked. While it was moving throughout the day, they had a mobile platform to where people could still enter. The customers could come to the building throughout this whole process while it was moving. I mean, it is one of the more unique and interesting feats of engineering. And there is a great video out there on it.
Yeah.
They have a kind of a time lapse, and you can see it rotate into place, and all the guys that got
crazy?
they're hand jacking it up. I mean, it was really
the cabling,
incredible.
the plumbing,
Everything.
Phones,
phone.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
People still work. No days off.
No, and-
No broken glass. No.
Oh
that's
yeah,
what
no
I'm saying.
cracks. They didn't crack the bricks. Nothing.
That
Can you
part
imagine, like-
is insane.
Yeah,
Keeping people in a building today.
they wouldn't even allow
It
it.
wouldn't even allow it. There's no way.
Yeah, that's a good point. That would not be allowed.
Come down.
When we
like
moved
that.
from the old building down here, we could have just driven it on down, but no.
Yeah, it's a much smaller building.
Where would we
Why
find
did we do that?
Yeah,
Well, it was a trailer too.
Exactly.
yeah, that's true.
We did have some trailers. We could
We
have.
had some trailers.
Well, that's awesome. Good stuff. Okay, well, we're going to move next to actually Alex and talk a little bit about the steam drill.
Yeah. So a steam drill is basically the earliest rendition of a hammer drill. And essentially what was happening is at the time, when you wanted to, go through and bore out something like a mountain to make a tunnel for a railroad to go through, for example, you would have to go ahead and use sledgehammers and drive spikes into the stone and make a pocket that you could put dynamite in for blasting. Well, the problem that people face with that is that's a lot of manpower, and there's a lot of injuries, other things like that. So the thought was, well, we can utilize steam to move through this faster. And so they did. They made this thing, and it essentially uses a steam engine to put steam behind essentially a hammer drill that's going to go ahead and start punching holes into the stone for you to replace sledgehammers and stakes. As it turns out, I believe a design was perfected by one Mr. Ingersoll, whose company eventually swelled into what we know as Ingersoll Rand these days. So, they laid a lot of really good groundwork back then. But probably the most famous example that everybody's probably familiar with here is John Henry and his legend. It's a huge part of American folklore now. And so it was the man who raced the steam drill. And essentially what he did is, according to legend, they say that he came from a workers' rights kind of mentality of, I want to go ahead and prove that men can do this better so that we can save our jobs. That's according to legend anyway. So he raced it, and apparently he drove 15 feet. The steam drill only drilled 9, and then according to legend, he died from exhaustion right afterwards, as that heavy hammer fell. So, mountain of a man. Interesting. Yeah, right. Well, interestingly, there might be some truth to that story. There's a couple different versions out there. Some say that he was a freedman who was, working, out there and was truly that noble character. Other versions have him being a convict who was basically on loan from prison to do the labor. But one way or another, that's kind of the legend that's built. Some say that it happened at the Big Bend Tunnel in West Virginia, part of the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. Others say that no, it was the Lewis Tunnel over in Virginia, owned by the same rail company. Some legends even say that it was down in Alabama when they were punching through some places down there. But we don't know for sure. We'll never know. There's a lot of interesting research to go out and Google and find. But the point is, it was man versus machine. And again, this is kind of, another tale of steam being on the frontier, helping us to pioneer and move and do things faster and more efficiently than we did before. When it comes to safety, sadly, a lot of these steam drills, they were kind of dirty, and they pushed out a lot of silicates that people would inhale. And so much like people have asbestos issues, from insulation and things like that from decades past, a lot of people would inhale that and they would get silicosis, and it would basically shut their lungs down. So there was early on there were a lot of safety issues that people just didn't know about. It was early technology, but despite that, it's sad that we lost a lot of those lives. But people were trying to find new ways to use the technology to help drive us forward, and they did. They helped us move through things a lot faster than we could have at the time.
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable stuff, and a pretty cool tale to enter the Americana in our legend. So.
Yeah, yeah. And steam just continues to be used, of course, today, but has been used in so many different places, and actually even has been used to keep time. And so we're going to move to steam clock.
Yeah, these are really interesting, and I came across the first one, which is in a neighborhood called Gastown in Vancouver, and it's I think this clock was built in 1977, and it's downtown Vancouver, and it goes, if it's still operating this way, it goes off on the hour. There's a steam whistle, but the whole clock mechanism is also powered by steam, so it pulls off the city's utility steam, and tapped into that and brought steam over this clock, and they're very big, as you can imagine, very ornate, usually encased in glass, so you can see all the machinery, all the wheels and gears turning, but then it just lets it rip at whatever time of day they have it. I think at Gastown, it was on the hour, but there's for some of them it's I think it was kind of a tourist thing, or a not like a public service announcement, but just a declaration of like what steam can do and the power of steam, because I think you were talking about the Industrial Revolution. There's no Industrial Revolution without steam. So I think it was kind of a celebrated medium of power. So a lot of these clocks, and there's the clock's obviously the one in Gastown, but there's one just up the road in Indianapolis that was I think fully restored in 1922, and it's in front of the museum. There's one in Japan, apparently there's one in New Jersey, and there's a few others around the world, but they just usually sit right in a highly populated city center area. Man, I don't know where you send a steam clock to get repaired. There's probably 2 or 3 people, that can probably do that, but pretty
Probably
neat.
because those areas have central steam
Yeah,
plants.
got municipal steam.
Yeah.
So, I haven't had a chance to research the other ones, but that's where everything came from. There's municipal steam, and they're allowed to pull off of it, and they're big. Obviously, it would be really cool, I think, to see one. To see one in purpose.
Absolutely.
Just seeing all the gears and all the wheels turning and all that.
There was a whistle failure at midnight in England on one.
Oh yeah, I guess it was like 9 straight hours of steam whistle.
Oh,
So the
It
whistle,
failed open.
the mechanism failed open.
Yeah.
Which is maybe fail safe, I don't know. But it failed to open position, and for 9 hours and
90 seconds.
90 seconds,
Close.
there's a 9 in there.
There's a 9 in there.
9 hours.
9 hours would be a long time.
That would be
Freak.
a long
I just,
9 hours would be move out.
if you would have said,
Exactly.
if you would have said
I'm
9 minutes, I would have let it go.
Back that
The
one.
whole neighborhood's deaf.
I would think that whistle would have melted down long before 9 hours. Didn't think that one through. It was 90 seconds of, that'd be awful.
Freak.
that would be.
Yes.
And at that time, everybody's living crowded in those areas. 90
Yes.
seconds of
It
steam
broke
whistle.
windows, and it
goodness.
woke up the entire village.
I bet.
I bet it woke up a lot of villages. That'd be loud.
Yes.
In the middle of the night, there wasn't a lot of noise pollution
No,
Yeah.
back in that time.
be
Yeah.
screaming. People probably woke up in a panic.
Yeah. I've seen throughout just being in the business, there's a lot of people that have like steam whistles, that they have in their offices and stuff. Pretty cool.
I've got one.
You have a steam whistle?
do.
Nice.
My great uncle gave it to me.
Why don't
awesome.
we have that?
Big, tall.
We should have that
Steam
in our
whistle.
boiler university.
We should hook it up.
Yes.
I want to work
it
with
up.
Jude to try to, it's beyond my skills to try to engineer, but there was a recycling plant in Copenhagen over in Denmark, and they had this really good idea of, wanting to give people a visual reference for their carbon footprint. So every so many tons of carbon, they designed a series of, they were basically concentric steamed coils that they had that would release steam at different pressures all at the same time, to where when it finally came out, it made a steam ring. It looks like a smoke ring, but it would just float above the city. Now, the last I've checked, they didn't have it online, but that was a while ago. Maybe they have now, or maybe they abandoned it. But I was thinking, man, if we could scale that down, that'd be awesome. Just send up little steam, circles every time we want. But kind of like little donuts in the sky.
Yeah.
Well, and then people would think it was smoke.
Yeah, probably.
Right,
And-
exactly.
Which it's not.
Yeah,
We just
Gandalf.
design the orifices so it comes out as a big W.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
That'd be some good stuff.
Let's talk with Jude. It could
Now we're
happen.
talking. Have you seen,
Jude can make it happen.
this is completely off topic, but still very cool. There's a steam plant, I don't know if they still do it, it's in Minnesota, where they do it at Christmas time and they do it at other times. Well, steam whistles, this is in a town in Pennsylvania where they synchronize their steam whistles at midnight on Christmas Eve.
Oh, and play a
And do-
song?
And do carols and songs, and that's
that's
pretty
cool.
cool. But they also take the steam plume, this is in Minnesota, and they backlight it with lights, the power plant, so you get a whole light show. And
I've seen that.
the tapestry is the steam
Yeah,
plume.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, pretty neat.
So let's move to 1867.
That's when I was
And
born.
That's when you were born?
That's when you were
Oh,
born.
1960.
1967.
Yeah, close.
You act like it.
But this is the carbolic steam sprayer.
Yes, and I learned about this on Steam Culture
Okay.
from
all
this
right.
guy right here.
Yeah.
There are some other good videos and so forth specific to this as well that you can find if you go online. But Joseph Lister is the inventor of this, and it's what created the concept of antiseptic surgeries. He had invented this device. It looks like kind of like a lantern, with the top of it being kind of like a little boiler, little pressure vessel. And then underneath of it, it has a candle, a heat source. And then it utilizes a concept of Venturi concept, like siphoning. And you would have this carbolic acid, which sounds weird, but when you take and you heat up the steam, and then it has a nozzle, and the steam releases, and then a hose would come off of there into this cup of this carbonic acid, and it would siphon it up through the pressure and mist.
Okay.
And the insane thing, and they thought it was a pretty crazy technology back in the day, that while you were doing a surgery, over the surgery envelope area, this would be misting out. And why carbolic acid is cool to be over your wounds, I don't know. But a young kid, around 12 years old, had smashed his leg, and they had to do a surgery. And back in this time, that far back, normally a surgery, you would end up dying from infection.
Right.
And this kid, one of the first for this experiment to occur, he went home perfectly healthy, went for there a few weeks.
Oh, wow.
And normally would have just died from
From the infection.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So thank Steam. He definitely did.
Thanks,
Steam.
Steam. I bet that kid said that.
For sure.
Thank you, Steam.
Yeah. And actually, after that, I guess Queen Victoria's surgeon adopted it. if I'm
Yeah,
saying
and that
correctly.
certainly gave it a lot of credibility.
Yes, I'm sure.
I think they said it was like a mustardy colored yellow.
Yeah, it was. It
This
was
fog
a
that was-
fog.
Yeah.
Was it safe to breathe?
Yeah, right.
That would it would kill you if you breathed it, but
yeah,
it was
right.
good for your wounds.
Good for open wound. All the surgeons died in the process. I imagine they never got a cold.
Don't try this at home.
They were just full of antiseptic all the time.
Right.
Yeah. It was brilliant.
So steam didn't just power stuff, it changed the game. From logging to luxury cars to keeping folks alive in surgery rooms. It's been everywhere. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and if you don't mind, subscribe. Give us that thumbs up and send this podcast to your buddies, and we'll see you on the next High Fire Podcast.
And that's it for Season 1 of the High Fire Podcast. We've talked shop, told stories, and lit a few fires along the way. Big thanks to every one of you out there who tuned in. Techs, operators, engineers, and managers. This show's for you. We're taking a short break to gear up for Season 2. Give us a few months, and we'll be back with more real talk, more steam stories, and more hard-earned lessons from the field. Until then, stay sharp, stay safe, and stay fired up. Catch you soon.